turning now to Arizona for our newest live trial for defending Kimberly LaCount. Now, prosecutors accuse her of planning to kill her spouse, Alex Kuhn. Prosecutors say she enlisted the services of her lover or then lover, Kipling Harris, to do the deed. Now, during the shooting, Kuhn's parents, Peggy and Robert Kuhn, were also shot. Robert survived his injuries, but Peggy died. Kipling Harris is currently serving a life sentence after being convicted of crimes stemming from that shooting, and he is expected to testify against his former lover. Well, today, Sergeant Robert McDonald of the Glendale Police Department took the stand. He testified about what he saw when he arrived on the scene. Here's a bit from both his direct and cross-examination.
What did you observe yourself about this Jeep when you first got there?
There was blood on the sidewalk near it, but what I observed is there was an individual that was slumped over in the steering wheel, and that was unresponsive and looked to have a lot of trauma around the head and neck and bleeding. Alice, I believe was her name, but I think she went by another name of Alex.
Last name Kuhn?
Yes. We removed Alice, and then I went up to clear this area. So I provided, the sergeant's cars are equipped with entry tools. An entry tool, there's one on the ground there, that's called a ballistic shield. And I also have a ram and what's called a Halligan tool. So we formulated a plan to try to gain access into the house, to search the house, to see if there's any more potential victims and or suspects. I went to the security door here and tried that door, and I could see, and that door was open, unlocked, I should say. It was closed, but it was unlocked. I could see through it, and I could see that the interior door was partially opened. So when I opened the door, I pushed open the interior door.
And then what did you do?
Then I watched for a moment, and I observed an elderly lady on the ground covered in blood, and she was not responsive.
Were you the first officer to open that interior door that you've been referencing?
I was.
So therefore, you must have been the first officer to witness the female victim who was lying in the hallway in the pool of blood?
Yes.
Did you later determine through the investigation that her name was Peggy Kuhn?
I did.
There were a couple different people who were taken to triage, correct?
Yes.
So one of them was Bob Kuhn.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then the other people who were taken to triage included Miss LaCount.
Miss LaCount was escorted out of the house and handed over to an officer who later brought her to a fire department vehicle.
And that's a triage center?
I do not know where the triage center was. Like it's advised that they had been there, and then later that van was up close to the house.
And you saw her exit with her two children?
I did.
You didn't know if they were her two children at that time?
I did not know that.
And you really didn't have any information about who she was?
No, sir, I did not.
However, you did observe that she did leave. She came out of the doorway into the hallway when she was directed to. Is that correct?
She did.
Did she do that initially?
I don't remember there being a big delay between myself making announcements and her showing herself.
So she was being cooperative?
Yes, she did. She did as I was calling for her to do things.
Another way to put it, she listened to your commands.
She did.
You described Miss LaCount as, at least one time, as frantic. Is that right?
Yeah, she was, when she came into the hallway, she could tell that she was emotional.
What do you mean by emotional?
Just the body language. She was compliant, or she had her hands up and motioning that her kids were in the house, and I said, okay, we'll come on.
So she wasn't emotional because she was crying, is that right? Did you think that she was in danger when you first saw her?
Absolutely. So I had her come out past me to leave that area.
So when you say an emotional response, you're also talking about what looked like something that was fearful, at least?
Certainly.
Okay.
Now, LaCount faces the death penalty if convicted of first-degree murder and conspiracy to commit murder.